Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for another Facebook. And as you can see, we're in the sunshine, but we're in a different place. We're in the Wilfred Fuller Operational Training Centre. And the reason that we're here is because Avon and Somerset Constabulary are going to break a tradition where we normally name the horses after locations within Avon and Somerset. And today we're going to, in fact, Andy will be naming the new recruit Hero. And this is a lasting tribute to our National Health Service heroes. And what better way than to name one of the police horses after those amazing men and women who are doing such a tremendous job. And I think that we want to say a massive thank you to them, and the fact that they day in and day out they are facing amazing issues about working amazingly hard at work, but also then going home. So I would like to say a massive thank you. I'd also like to say a massive thank you to anyone who is listening who's changed their behaviour quite dramatically over the last few weeks. You know, we had a bank holiday, we had the sunshine out, where we normally meet family, friends and our loved ones, and we just couldn't do that. And for the vast majority of you were absolutely brilliant. And I know it was hard. So thank you very much. And we can't be complacent either, can we? We'd have to continue with this. And I think that we will look back at this and think to ourselves, what did we do during this period? How did we support the community? How did we support the NHS? And that's something that you are doing day in and day out by staying at home. Andy, as Chief Constable, is there anything that you'd like to say before we start on a few specific questions?
Really, just to echo what you've said, of my experience, so I've been out across the force patrolling with officers on occasions, and I've seen remarkable levels of public support and compliance for what we're all trying to do to support the NHS. And so it's a big thank you from me as well.
That's great. So we're now in our fourth week of lockdown, and I'm sure many local people are wondering, how are your officers and staff holding up? What was the Easter weekend like for you, and how did local people react?
So what we've tried to do is take an approach where we turn this problem on its head in many respects. And what we've found is that because of some fantastic technology, which you were able to fund a couple of years ago, so we've all got personal issued laptops, smart devices. So we've actually got about 3,000 people working really effectively from home, making a massive contribution. But we're also able to tackle many of the things that we haven't been able to in previous months and years because we just haven't had the space or time to do it. So we've put that army of people from home working really well on those things. That leaves our operational people to engage with the public, explain and encourage that people should be complying with this. And actually, in terms of our visioning of where we'd like to be, we would like to come out of the other side of this, and of course we will, closer to our communities with a stronger bond of trust and confidence. And I've seen a great deal of evidence that the vast majority of the public understand and support these measures, and actually understand the police have got a difficult but sensitive job, which I'm satisfied my officers and staff are doing really, really well.
Thank you. So let's just talk about domestic abuse. It's a subject that I know that we spend a lot of time discussing. And we know that it's all very well for us to say staying at home, but for some people staying at home is not a safe place. And that just increases anxiety levels. And I wonder if you can give an update on, have you seen an increase? Have you seen, how are we supporting victims of domestic abuse? And what can the public do about helping those victims?
We've seen some really interesting trends around certain crime types. We've seen many of our crime types drop significantly. So burglary of people's houses, unsurprisingly, because people are in most of the time, fallen by about 40%, and many other crime types fallen on average by about 30%. It's in some respects, ambiguous picture around domestic abuse. We generally get reported every day about 70 domestic violence crimes and 40 domestic violence incidents. Now, our levels since lockdown have been very similar to that. About 70 crimes and 40 incidents, about 110 in total. But we know and we suspect and we believe, and we observe from experience elsewhere in the world, that confining families to the sort of stresses and strains of living within their four walls 24/7, 365 for 2-3 weeks, maybe more, we'll find out tonight, is that they're the sort of circumstances where we would expect to see an increase in domestic violence. So the statistics tell us we haven't yet seen that significantly. We're acutely sensitive and mindful that we might, and there's some really strong messaging to people. If you are feeling as though you're in danger, if you are a victim or a survivor of domestic abuse, if you want to speak to us or another agency, then there is a government website, Domestic Violence. There are lots of other voluntary and statutory agencies, and we would encourage people who have those fears and concerns to contact us. If it's happening right now, 999. Obviously 101 is a different way of contacting us.
Thank you. We've spoken before about the online coronavirus form, and there's still some people who are confused about this. So, can local people expect officers to turn up immediately, and how does the reporting online help the police?
So we have a number of different ways in which people can report concerns about those people who are breaching the principles of the guidance to protect the NHS and stay at home. So if something's happening right now and you feel it's appropriate for the police to attend, then we'd say ring 101. And actually we are experiencing a 20% increase in our 101 call numbers, that's quite a lot actually. We also have a secondary reporting method, which is the online COVID reporting. It's really straightforward, and we would encourage people to use this where the incident's happened in the past or a police response isn't necessarily immediately necessary right now. So it's obviously there is a public appetite for this. We've had about 11,000 reports, both 101 and online. I think remarkably we've attended 44% of them. We use that data really constructively. So we have an application that updates every 60 minutes. For example, just one example of this, it will tell us the top 20 areas in the force at any one time. We're having our hotspots of breaches, and so we're deploying our officers and PCSOs proactively to these hotspots to engage, encourage and explain, and obviously as a final resort on occasions take enforcement action against those who simply will not listen. That really is the only time we're taking formal enforcement action. So there is a strong public appetite, and I think that reporting level, so I interpret that as the general public saying we're complying with this, we want and need everyone to comply with it. And actually the brilliant news is 1.7 million people live in Avon and Somerset policing area. We've only issued I checked a couple of hours ago, I think it's 143 enforcement notices since this started. So we are talking about a tiny minority. This is the public policing themselves by and large, because they are staying indoors and staying at home.
Indeed. Okay, thank you. We've also received an email from a local person who needs some clear advice about residential construction work. So are tradespeople and construction workers still allowed to carry on their work during this period?
So with any new piece of legislation, obviously takes a little time for people to interpret and understand it, and the situation I think has become clearer every day. If people need to go to work, need to actually be out of the house to go to work, then they can go to work so long as they can be socially distanced. So if they're involved in residential construction and they're going to work and they can be socially distanced in that job, maybe they're working on their own, or maybe there's just two of them and they're always 2 meters apart, then that is in order for them to do that.
That's really helpful. Thank you very much. And thank you to those who've joined us today. The determination and the commitment that I've seen from all the agencies, whether it's the police, whether it's you who are changing your behaviour, whether it's from all the emergency responders, is that we know we can make a difference. We know we are making a difference, and you've only got to look at the figures. So I would like to say a massive thank you. And I know it's really hard. I think, in sunshine like this, to be cramped in, within four walls and with your children at home as well, it is really difficult, but we just have to continue. So I'd like to say a massive thank you once again. So I'd like to hand over to Andy now regarding Hero.
Yeah, now anyone who's watching will have noticed a very imposing horse. This is our newest recruit, Hero, ridden by Tracy Small, and Tracy's one of our most experienced, most skillful, most dedicated members of our mounted section. So we're incredibly lucky to have these two. And for those of you that are watching, this is a sneak preview, because Hero is going to be formally named at 3:30 this afternoon. And then later today at 8 o'clock, all of the officers' staff are going to be involved in clapping for the NHS and indeed all carers, and there are many, many thousands and hundreds of thousands of them across the country. The thing I would say about Hero, I'm told I'm a little bit scared of him. I'm sure you can understand that. He's huge. Standing behind me is about 17 hands. Hero, I'm told, is brave, is kind, hard-working and a quick learner. So we think there are lots of reasons why it's very appropriate to name Hero after our NHS and caring heroes. So thank you, Hero, and thank you very much, Tracy. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, and thank you.